Welcome everybody to Tropical Weather Update. It's about 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on November 7, 2022, and we are still in hurricane season, and we do have a potential hurricane that is threatening the Florida Peninsula at this time. Right now, the storm is called Subtropical Storm Nicole, and on the map, as you can see, is the forecast track. The forecast track seems to be fairly certain at this point, because I'm going to show you some of the spaghetti models, and you'll see they're all in agreement that this storm is certainly headed toward the Florida Peninsula, somewhere from the Brevard County area all the way up to the Brevard County area, somewhere in there. Palm Beach County certainly looks like they're in the center. Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie County in the center of this cone, and will be receiving the brunt of this subtropical storm, which may become tropical storm and potentially Hurricane Nicole in the next couple of days. So let's look at the map here. You can see the current information shows the maximum sustained winds of only 45 miles an hour, but strengthening is possible and even likely in the next couple of days. And as you can see on this map, they have it as an H by 8 p.m. Wednesday, approximately over Grand Bahama Island, but probably no more than a Category 1 hurricane, and then eventually approaching the Florida Peninsula, maybe around the Palm Beach County area by morning on Thursday, sometime Thursday morning, as a very minimal Category 1 hurricane or strong tropical storm. But those can create pretty significant issues for mobile homes, flooding in low-lying areas, power outages, even though there's probably not a severe threat of storm surge, because on the east coast of Florida, you just don't get the storm surge you do on the west coast based on the shape of the continental shelf. But that doesn't mean interests in South Florida don't need to worry about this storm. This could be a significant storm for this area with the wind and the rainfall and some coastal flooding and beach erosion. These videos, I like to, most of the stuff you can get anywhere. I'd like to focus on the spaghetti models, the projected track, as well as intensity, and let's do that next. So let's look here. This is the model guidance for intensity, and if you want to look at the timing here, we're looking at the 48 to 60 hour time frame when it's going to be approaching the Florida Peninsula, maybe even closer to 72 hours. So if you can see, that's in this area here. The middle of this is 55 knots. There's a few that have it close to Category 1 strength, but most of the models have it and decreasing in intensity as it gets very close to the shore, not increasing in intensity. So I'm pretty certain we're going to either have a very strong tropical storm here or extremely minimal Category 1 hurricane as it approaches the Florida coast. There is nothing here that indicates this is going to strengthen into a Category 2 hurricane, and I'll show you some other models that indicate that the millibars should stay pretty high, which indicates the storm shouldn't be that strong. So that's good news. But to have even a possible Category 1 hurricane this late in hurricane season is somewhat unusual. I mean, we're approaching mid-November, so to even have a Category 1 hurricane is a significant event at this point, and people in South Florida and Central Florida really need to keep an eye on this storm in the next few days. All right, let's take a look at the spaghetti models, and as I said, these are all in very, very good agreement that the landfall of the storm will be around the Palm Beach County, Martin, or St. Lucie County area. I'm not seeing any changes in this. There's no outliers here, unlike some of the other storms that we looked at, like Ian, which had some of them had to go into Tampa, some to Apalachicola, some to Naples and Fort Myers. This is pretty well in agreement at this point, all of the models. The GEPS models are also pretty much in agreement. They have this storm going a little north of the Palm Beach County, maybe the Martin or St. Lucie County area. So the guidance on the modeling is pretty consistent at this point, which is good. Let's take a look at the HWRF model. This is from tropicaltidbits.com, and I give credit to this in the description of my video. This is the one that has it about the strongest. It has it at 974 millibars, which is a Category 1 hurricane, close to Category 2. Again, coming on shore at the northern portions of Palm Beach County and possibly Martin County area. And that would be by Thursday at 06Z, which is very, very early Thursday morning. The next model I have, though, is the GFS model. This model does not show it strengthening that much. It has it at 995 millibars, which is barely a hurricane. I mean, barely a tropical storm, I think. So it certainly doesn't have it as a hurricane at 995 millibars. And that's great news. And it has it making landfall right around the West Palm Beach area. The UK Met, let's look at that one and see what that has. It again has a very similar track, making landfall a little further north in potentially the St. Lucie County area at 995 millibars. And if we look at the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale, in 2010 they changed this to get rid of the millibars or the pressure readings to determine whether a tropical storm or hurricane, or to determine whether hurricane's category 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Now the Saffir-Simpson scale is 100% based on wind. But I did find this older graphic when they used to, prior to 2010, determine it based on pressure as well. And you can see that a category 2 hurricane requires 979 millibars. It used to. So 965 to 979 millibars. I think we had the first graphic, the HWRF model, had it as potentially category 2 hurricane, but the other ones had it at 995 millibars, which I don't even think would make it a category 1 hurricane, or if it were, it would be a very minimal category 1 hurricane. This chart says, greater than 979 millibars is category 1. I think once you get up to close to 1,000 millibars or 995, it wouldn't even be in the hurricane category. But it doesn't really state this, and I can't find too much older guidance on the atmospheric pressure ratings for the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale, which existed prior to 2010. It's probably just being erased off the internet, so people like me don't try to find it, because it is a wind-based scale now. The Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale is what it's called. But I like to know what the millibars are to be able to judge some of the intensity based on looking at these models like the GFS, HWRF, the UK Met, and other models show what they believe the pressure is going to be. They don't show the wind speeds in their modeling. So it's nice to be able to correlate the pressure to potentially what the hurricane strength will be. So anyway, to summarize this, we're looking at a strong tropical storm, potentially a category 1 hurricane hitting the east coast of Florida by late Wednesday or early Thursday morning. It's not moving that slowly, so it should not be a huge rain event. But because of the way it's moving, I mean, if you look at these models, it's going to go across the peninsula and then whip back across Florida again, further north, and then potentially affecting the South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina area. So some parts of Florida may be hit by this twice. I mean, first, as it comes across the peninsula, the Orlando area, for example, may get the northern part of the storm. Then as it crosses the state again, back toward the Gainesville and the Jacksonville area, they may get the south side of the storm. So some parts of central Florida may get hit twice by this storm. And so that could potentially cause more power outages and more flooding in an area that was really ravaged by flooding in Hurricane Ian. So that's not a good situation for Central Florida from that standpoint. Let me look here. I did have one other graphic I wanted to show, and this is the summary of the watches and warnings. As you saw on the original map, and we can go back to that as well, the pink areas of this map show the hurricane watches. There are hurricane watches already in effect for the Florida Peninsula, from Hallandale Beach, Florida, to the Volusia, Brevard County line, and that's shown here in the pink areas on this graphic. I will read that to you, though. A hurricane watch is in effect for the northwest Bahamas, the east coast of Florida from the Volusia, Brevard County line to Hallandale Beach, and also for Lake Okeechobee. There are storm surge watches in effect, but again, the storm surge on the east coast of Florida, for the most part, is not that significant. And then there are tropical storm watches in effect north and south of where the hurricane watches are in effect. A hurricane watch means that hurricane conditions are possible within the watch area, and a watch is typically issued 48 hours before the anticipated first occurrence of tropical storm force winds. So it gives you 48 hours before even tropical storm force winds would reach the area. So that's well before any hurricane force winds would reach. But a hurricane watch does not mean that they are predicting a likelihood. A hurricane warning would mean that hurricane conditions are likely within the hurricane warning area, and we will see that in the next day or so if this storm continues to, if the forecasters believe it was going to reach Category 1 hurricane strength. So that'll be coming maybe in 24 hours or so, a hurricane warning in some portion of this watch area. I will do another update tomorrow if and when a hurricane warning is issued, or if conditions warrant, based on any change to what I'm saying in this video, significant change where I think I need to update the video. Thanks for watching this. I think I covered what I want to cover. I'm trying to make these videos as short as possible so people will watch as much of them as they can. But get your hurricane preparations done today, if possible. If you live in South Florida, you probably already have many supplies from the last hurricane that threatened the area. But gas your car up, get some food in case for a power outage, and just be ready for hopefully not a significantly dangerous hurricane, but all hurricanes are dangerous in some way. So just be ready and just be aware. Consult your local news authorities, NOAA Weather Radio, and internet sources for updates on this storm. And I will do another update again probably tomorrow. Thanks for watching Tropical Weather Update, and be weather aware, be safe, and have a great afternoon. Thank you.